Well, hey there, welcome back to the Moms in Business podcast, where I help Christian mamas build thriving, creative businesses without sacrificing their faith, family, or peace of mind. Today, I want to talk to you about something that I am personally navigating as I continue to shape this podcast, and that's finding my space, style, and getting clear on the message that I want to be able to give to you, the one listening. So if you're a regular listener, you might notice some small changes and shifts in the next episodes. And it's not because I'm taking a new direction, really. It's because I'm really digging in and defining my focus. And that's exactly what I want to talk to you about today. It's finding your space and working through the process and bringing your audience along for the journey. When I first started my photography business, I had no idea how much of a journey it would be to find my style and figure out who I was meant to serve. I remember those early days when I felt like I had to do it all. I did every type of photo session. I did every style. I even went through a time where I was editing different looks for different photos for different people, and it was exhausting. But after a lot of work and discouragement over not having the clients that I wanted to book me, I knew that I was going to have to connect with my people, and I was going to have to get clear on just who I was and who I wanted to serve. It took time, but gradually I started to figure out what style of photography felt most true to me, and I experimented with different techniques and different kinds of sessions, different ways of connecting with clients, and then I slowly realized that I was most passionate about capturing more candid, authentic moments in a true-to-life edit. And that's kind of what became my style, those raw, real-life moments that tell a story. And that clarity changed everything, not just in my work, but in the kind of clients I started attracting. So the process of figuring out your style, your audience, and your approach is the same with any new venture, really. It's not about having it all figured out from the start because you'll never start if that's the case. But it's about allowing yourself the space to explore, to experiment, and to refine until you find what feels right, and know that actually you will probably build more loyalty with your audience going through that process with them than if you were to start knowing exactly what you were doing, which isn't even possible. This is exactly what happened to me, though, when I was building my photography business. And to this day, some of my most favorite loyal clients that I love so much are those who have literally been with me from the very beginning. Like, I'm embarrassed by some of the photos that they have that I took of them. And what's been cool, though, is they have commented on how much they've enjoyed watching my journey and watching me grow and seeing where I am now, and that's super encouraging to me. So let's talk about how do you figure out your ideal audience so you can start speaking to them. In those early days of my photography business, I learned that trying to be everything to everyone just led to burnout and confusion on me, and confusion on my clients as well. They didn't really know who I was. And I found that the same thing applies to this podcast as well. When I first launched Moms in Business, I had this big vision of creating a space for all moms who are balancing business and life and kids. But I quickly realized that within that broad vision, there were stories and conversations and values that I was drawn to, ones that resonated with my own experience and not really just every mom out there. So just like with photography, I'm having to figure out, who am I serving? What is my style and message? What's that going to look like? And what I've discovered is that my heart is most connected to those moms who are in the midst of building something new. Those who are navigating this season of entrepreneurship, along with staying home with their kids and either planning to homeschool or they're in the throes of homeschooling. These are the women I want to reach because their story feels so aligned with my own, and I can speak directly to them because I am them. I know what it feels like to have your kids with you all the time. I know what it feels like to go through the homeschooling experience. I know what it feels like to balance it all. And so now, having gone through this journey of homeschooling and building my photography business and still balancing everything that I'm responsible for, I feel like that I can really speak to that mom. So I want to encourage you that if you're in the place where you're still figuring out who you're meant to serve, to give yourself freedom to explore and experiment. Realize that this journey will not happen overnight. In fact, it's probably going to be a process of trial and error. In fact, it is going to be a process of trial and error. Working with somebody and then realizing, oh wait, that's not my person. Or working with someone and realizing, oh my goodness, I loved that so much. I didn't even know I would love that as much as I did. And then going from there and starting to hone in on who you want to serve and what you want to do. It takes time to figure things out. What I don't want you to do, and please hear me, I don't want you to just not start because you don't feel like you have it figured out. Instead, go ahead and start anyway, and then have faith that as you work through the process that all of us as business owners have to work through, that these things will come and clarity will come. And so that brings me to this next point that I feel like is super important. And that is one thing that helped me connect with my photography clients was letting them in on my process. Showing them that I wasn't just snapping photos, but that I was growing and figuring it out and that I had a desire to get better, and I would talk through things and processes and share with them like what I was editing and what I was doing and just bringing them in along on that journey. And now with this podcast, I want to do that same thing. I want to let you guys in on what's happening behind the scenes, let you in on my journey, because my hope is that the connection between us will become stronger and that you will have the courage to step out because you see someone else doing it and you're like, if she can do that, I can do that. And I guarantee you that statement is so true. If I can, you can. I don't care who you are. So yeah, when you're building something new, whether it's a podcast, a business, or just a creative project, there is so much power in bringing people along for the ride. It's not about having the perfect end product from the start, but about being transparent and letting your audience see you grow. It's kind of like saying, hey, I'm figuring this out too. Let's do it together. And people love being able to do things with somebody. Even online, they love feeling like they're part of that process. And that's how we build trust. We build trust through those moments of authenticity. When we let people see the real journey, they become more than just clients or listeners, but they actually become part of our community because they're vested in us. And that's where the magic happens, is whenever you can get people vested in you who have like an emotional connection and a desire to see you succeed. That's just true gold right there. So as I wrap up this episode, I just want you to take away a few key things. These are like what you can jot down, put as a sticky note or a reminder. And the first is, when you're starting something new, give yourself time to work through the process. So you could just jot down, I have to work through the process, or I am working through the process. And also, oh my goodness, don't overthink this. Just start. Just start. Second is, don't be afraid to narrow down your focus and speak to those who resonate with your story or who you know you can get results for. So this is another one of, don't be afraid to niche down too much. Like, you've got to speak to that one person. Have the one person in mind that you're like, that was me, or I can help her. An example that comes to mind for this is that my daughter is allergic to metal. And so there was this Facebook ad, naturally, Facebook ads get me all the time. There's this Facebook ad that came up for this company, this cute little company who specializes in just plastic backed earrings. And their ad title, they were saying, no more pain. And then that kind of attracted me, and I was like, oh my goodness, I need these. And even though my daughter is actually the one that they might be targeting or has that pain point, as the mom, I have the pain point that my daughter can't wear cute earrings because she's allergic to metal. And so that is just an example of being able to speak to those who you can get results for or will resonate with your story. And then finally, I want you to write down, it is okay to show my progress and growth. Because it is. You want to bring your audience along for the journey. You want to let them in on your process. You want to let them in on your growth. And I know it's going to feel super vulnerable. It's going to feel like, oh my goodness, they're never going to take me seriously because I can't even figure this thing out. But I also know from experience that you'll build a stronger connection because of it. Like, people want to be along. They want to feel like they were part of it. So, whether you're launching a new business, refining an existing one, or just trying to figure out your next step, remember that it's all part of the journey. And it's okay to take your time. It's okay to have some seasons where you have to go slow. It's okay to have some seasons where you can move very quickly. It's going to look different for everyone, but we all have to go through that process. We just do. I love this quote. It's also the title of this book by Mary Marantz, which I love. I love her so much. I've read all her books. And it's called Slow Growth Equals Strong Roots. That's so good. In order for our businesses to be strong, we have to go through the process that everyone has to go through. We have to develop that root system so that we can have strong roots, because if we do not have strong roots, we will not be able to withstand as our business grows. You have to have a solid foundation, and solid foundations, strong roots, do not get built overnight. And that's just facts. I wish it wasn't, because goodness knows I am that girl who wants to hustle, and I want to see that overnight instant success, and that is just not how it works. Anyway, I hope that you come away from this episode encouraged to either start or just to keep chugging along like that book, The Little Engine That Could, that he just kept chugging along until he made it up that hill. And that's kind of the way business is. So thank you so much for tuning in today and being part of this journey with me. Building this podcast has been a process of finding my space, and I'm so grateful for you coming along for the ride. If this episode has resonated with you, I'd love for you to share it with someone who's finding their own space in business or just struggling to get started. And as always, if you have any thoughts, questions, please reach out. I am always here to listen, and I love hearing from my people. So until next time, keep moving forward, keep showing up for those who need you, and remember, it's those small steps that build big dreams. And I will see you in the next episode. I hope you walked away from this episode inspired to go and implement these things into your life and business. Remember to head to the show notes to get any links, guides, or discounts that were mentioned. And while you're there, leave me a 5-star review. Your feedback is the only way that I know you're enjoying and finding this podcast helpful. Until next episode, remember, it's those small daily steps that build big dreams.